Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, were so gallantly streaming.
Madison Bumgarner trying to wrap up this World Series for the Giants. He's ready. He throws. Swing and a pop-up. Side the ball, down the line in foul ground. He's got plenty of room, and he's got it! And the Giants have won. They have won the World Series for the third time in 5 years.
From Chevrolet, the regional zone manager, Rick Wilde.
Madison, congratulations and stuff. I proudly present to you very own set of keys and stuff to a brand new 2015 Chevy Colorado and stuff. It combines class-winning and leading, technology and stuff with Wi-Fi powered by OnStar and stuff.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportsshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Usually you reserve this for bags, but the news did break today, so I just want to get it out today.
Go for it.
The newest subscription number for the WWE Network is out.
And?
It is 731,000. This is a massive disappointment considering that a couple months back they released the network in 170 different countries. So,
wait,
this is looking more and more like the money pit we all thought it would be.
Are you serious? Let me back up for a second. They're in 170 countries and they've only got 731,000 subscribers.
Yep, and
that's throughout the world.
Throughout the world.
Holy hell.
They had the last time we got an update, they were only in the U.S. and they were around 700,000. So they've only really increased by 31,000.
Wow.
Since expanding worldwide.
So this thing is going to fail miserably, isn't it?
Or
if it hasn't already, I guess.
I mean, the only way to avoid this bankrupting the company is to either can it or to get rid or to have massive personnel cuts, and it looks like they're doing the latter. They're making cuts to the developmental system, to the mid card, and to the undercard. So they're basically trying to gut the company to make this thing salvageable. Interestingly enough, the network not only is it bleeding the company dry, but it's also destroyed their pay-per-view market. Night of Champions, one of their big pay-per-views of the year, only got 50,000 pay-per-view buys, which makes it one of the worst-selling pay-per-views from a major promotion in wrestling history.
Wow. So how much damage is this going to do to the WWE overall?
I can't say exactly, but I do know that under the current business model, if they stay where they're at, they average to lose $50 to $70 million a year.
Who?
And WCW, which was at one point the largest wrestling company in the world, went out of business after losing $60 million one year. So,
don't you think they should just scrap it?
They should. What they should do is they should scrap it, and they should go crawling back to the pay-per-view providers, begging them to pick them back up again, because DirecTV just dropped them because they announced the network without consulting them. So what they should do is they should drop the network and go back to the pay-per-view providers, basically begging them to take them back. But they're not gonna, because Vince is a stubborn idiot.
So this is a company that was basically printing money for a number of years, and this one misstep, and that's amazing, man.
At the end of the day, a lot of people were praising the innovation of the network, but the fact of the matter is pro wrestling just doesn't have a large enough fan base to make something like this profitable at this time. They needed to wait 10 years before this technology streamlined to the point where they could make it profitable at around 700,000 subscribers. But
yeah, because you really do get a hell of a lot of content, and the price isn't bad. But
I mean, it's a great deal. It is a great deal. The problem is that it's a great deal for pro wrestling fans, and there aren't enough of those to make it profitable at the current cost it takes to run something like this. So,
yeah, well, big news out of the WWE.
It's still real to me, damn it.
We have a new world champion in the world of baseball, the San Francisco Giants.
I would hesitate to say new.
Well, the most recent. How about that?
Okay.
The latest world champion in the world of baseball.
It is an even-numbered year.
Indeed it is.
It is an even-numbered year.
As it's an even-numbered year, congratulations to the San Francisco Giants. 3 times in 5 years.
And that's brought up my next question. I've been hearing this bandied about all day. Is this team a dynasty? I say absolutely not in a million years, no.
I don't think you can be a dynasty unless you win back-to-back at least once.
I don't think they're a dynasty because a dynasty is a team that is good throughout their run. Not win the World Series, don't make the playoffs, win the World Series, don't make the playoffs, win the World Series after winning 88 games.
They made the playoffs last year.
Did they? Maybe they are then. All right, I retract everything I just said.
They lost to the Cardinals last year.
I don't know.
All this stuff about me being a big baseball fan and all that, it's just a big ruse. I don't know shit about the game, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I'll stick by my guns. You can't be a dynasty until you win back-to-back at least once.
I think 3 and 5 years is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it is.
It's good, but if they win it next year, yes, they're a dynasty.
But they won't.
I don't know.
They'll win in 2018 or 2016.
Then that would be 4 and 7 years, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for me because when I think of dynasties, I think of the 70s Steelers. I think of the 80s Islanders, the 80s Oilers. I think of the 80s 49ers.
Patriots.
I guess the early 2000s Patriots, yeah, because those teams.
Lakers and Spurs?
Right, or the 80s Lakers or the 80s Celtics. Who else can I come up with here? Well, like the Canadiens back in the day when they won 5 straight. That's a dynasty, man. The Giants, while winning 3 championships, I don't think they've ever been what I would consider the dominant team. We talked about this a few weeks ago. I don't think they're even the best team in baseball, but they're the world champions. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
Oh, you know what? You were right, Greg. They didn't make the playoffs in the 2 years they didn't win.
Well, see, I was just a lucky guess on my part.
Congratulations, Giants. You ripped the heart out of America.
Yeah. I will say this, though. The Royals took this thing a lot further than I thought they could from the beginning.
Well, I mean, what else could you have wanted from this series? Not only did it go to 7 games, not only did it go down to the bottom of the 9th, with a 1-run lead, and then they get, you're down to 2 outs, and they get a guy to fumble the ball in the outfield and get him to third base. The tying run at third base. Like, what did you want? That was as exciting of a series as you could have had.
I'm not complaining.
It was a great series, but here's the thing. The Royals were up 2-1 of a lead in Game 4.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have put a stranglehold on this thing, and they let it slip away. I don't know. Like I said, nothing against the Giants, but I think the Royals winning would have been great, and it didn't happen. So instead of having a great story to end this baseball season, it's just like, the Giants won again. Okay.
But you got to,
I still think it's great that the Royals got to where they did.
Oh, me too.
To their credit, they weren't the Rockies of the 2007 Rockies where they burst through everything and they get swept. They made something of it. They were competitive. This was a great World Series. Honestly, if the Giants don't have Madison Bumgarner,
yeah,
the Royals probably win that series. Madison Bumgarner single-handedly won that World Series.
Absolutely. If there was ever a case in a season or in a postseason series where the MVP was more clear-cut than this, I've never seen it.
Yeah,
there was just no question who it was.
When he came in and when he got out of the trouble that he got to in the first part of his outing in Game 7. Because I was actually working at the OC Register last night in the office, and so I was talking with a bunch of the other sports guys around there, and we were all kind of in the same agreement. Either he closes out this game and wins the World Series MVP, or the Royals win it in dramatic fashion.
Yeah.
Like, that's what was going to happen. You knew he was going to come in at some point.
Right.
And when he did, it was either he's going to sink and the Royals are going to win, or he's going to be dominant, and the Giants are going to win.
My thought was he's coming back on 2 days rest. So I thought, okay, they can get it. I thought if they brought him in, it would be later, where they maybe get
the most 3 innings. Maybe.
Yeah, and he comes on and he pitches from the 5th inning on, and after that he was a little shaky to start, but after that it was like freaking Sandy Koufax or somebody out there. He was amazing.
Yep.
And I will say this though, if that had been what's his name, Dyson or Lorenzo Cain that had hit that ball that Alex Gordon hit, they're probably still playing baseball tonight. A faster runner could have legged that thing out for an inside the park, or what wouldn't have been an inside the park, a single 3-base error. But Alex Gordon just wasn't fast enough to make it home. I think one of the faster guys would have done it.
Maybe.
But
I don't know. It's those kind of things that you can debate. But it was great.
It was great. I mean, it came right down to it, and then it was just like, boy, I thought if they tie it up, they're going to win it. It's as simple as that.
Well, yeah. If it goes to extra innings, you can count on the Royals winning it.
Basketball is officially back in Cleveland, gentlemen. Real shocking news, guys. You ready for this? The Cavs are wearing alternate jerseys tonight.
Of course they are.
Yeah, they're wearing their blue alts tonight, which are very sharp but have nothing to do with anything.
LeBron's first game back in Cleveland.
And we're already selling jerseys, baby.
Yeah.
Can I also just say I am extremely apathetic about the return of the Charlotte Hornets basketball thing because
that's right. That's happening too.
Can I tell you that I'm completely apathetic about the return of basketball in general?
Oh, excuse me.
You're not even a little bit curious with LeBron being back? Even a little bit?
To be perfectly honest, when Thursday night was opening night, right? I had no clue. The Lakers were playing, and I didn't even know.
I know. I didn't either. I've got a fantasy basketball team, and I didn't even set my lineup.
Normally this is something, even though everyone knows we're not the biggest basketball fans, we're still big sports fans.
Right.
This is something that I kind of pride myself on being on top of. But I was just kind of hanging around, having my normal day, and then I'm looking at Twitter, and people are like, NBA opening night. I'm like, what? Really? No, it wasn't even that. I was in the register office, and I was kind of just doing my own thing. And somebody's like, "Oh yeah, they're having the TNT doubleheader tonight." And I'm like, "TNT doubleheader? Is today opening day?" And sure enough, opening night. And of course, the Lakers played on opening night, and the season promptly began and ended for the Lakers on opening night.
Oh God, what happened?
Julius Randle, our first-round pick, he was going to be really good. He came out of Kentucky. He was actually really promising. Oh, he breaks his leg opening night, might be out for the year. So, no Steve Nash. Nick Young was injured. Julius Randle injured himself on day one. And Kobe's already jocking up every single shot he can take.
Oh, boy.
They can't defend the three. They can't shoot the three. This team might as well not exist for me. Congratulations, Los Angeles Lakers. I'm not paying attention again this year.
If anyone is interested, Kevin Love scores the first basket of the year for the Cleveland Cavaliers off an assist from Kyrie Irving. LeBron was not involved.
The Toronto Raptors are off to a scorching 1-0 record.
Tomorrow the world, man.
We the North. We the North.
Yeah.
We the North.
Wasn't it the most points scored in a season opener?
It was.
Can you guys change that to We Be the North? I would just think that would be so much better. We Be the North? Come on.
I preferred the whole Northern Rebellion thing, but instead they went with We the North, so here we are.
We should make a prediction right now. How many different jerseys will the Cavs wear this year? Is there a
15.
limit?
I'm putting 15.
How many games? How many games in a season?
82.
82? They're going to wear 97 jerseys.
Don't change at halftime.
Yeah.
I predict 15 jerseys. We got the 3 major ones, like the home, road, and alternate, right?
Right.
They're going to throw in a couple
Christmas.
Throwbacks. They're going to throw in a couple of those stupid Cav Fanatic jerseys where they throw back but then use a different throwbacks color scheme.
Right.
And then they're going to come up with some probably stupid sleeved jersey crap for Christmas.
Oh, God, I forgot about the Christmas jerseys. I'm going to go with 9, I think, is going to be the final total. 9 different jerseys throughout the season.
But speaking of the Lakers, Zach, I don't know if you caught me in the why do you root for your favorite teams thread, but I have officially half-heartedly, not really caring, adopted the Lakers as my second NBA team.
But Steve Nash isn't playing this year.
Technically, he's still signed by the team.
Right, but he pulled his back.
Lifting luggage, yes, I know.
Lifting luggage, of all freaking things.
Look, Steve.
Professional athlete.
Steve,
can't carry his own bags.
Steve, I love you. I love you, Steve, but maybe it's time to retire.
I was just going to say, you want to know why he pulled his back out carrying luggage? Because he's old. That's why. Take it from somebody who knows.
But it's one of those things where I think it's Canadian law that every Canadian needs to be a fan of whatever team Steve Nash is playing on.
Oh, okay.
And so I was thinking about it. I was thinking, do I have a second NBA team? And I really didn't. And so I thought, well, why the hell not be for the team that Steve Nash is currently signed to?
Hey, why not?
It's as good a reason as any other reason I chose to designate any other team as my second team would be just as empty and shallow. So,
how many teams are too many? You got your first team, your second team. I think that most people, most of our community agrees that 2 is okay. How many is too many? I know that
I think 3 is the upper limit. If you can make a case for 3, I think 3 is good. You got to justify it. But if you can justify it, 3 is good. But any more than that's ridiculous.
I would agree on that. Usually the way that I work it is I have my favorite team, and then I'll pick a team in the other conference or something.
Same here.
To be my second team. So I can kind of get a flavor of both and kind of pay attention. And then maybe, I have a family connection to a third team or something. And it's okay, I can balance that. But then once you get 4, it's why not just pay attention to the whole league? And I know it's a step to go from 4 to 30, but if you have 4 favorite teams, then if you have 4 favorite teams, they're playing 4 other teams that night. So that's 8 teams that you then have to keep track of on one night, let's say.
No,
that's too much.
It's ridiculous. 2 is optimal. Like Zach, I like to keep my quote-unquote second team in the other conference or league in baseball's case. I have 3 baseball teams, and I can justify it, but that's the thing. I think if you can rationally justify 3, then 3's fine. But any more than that is ridiculous.
You got the Blue Jays, and who are the other 2?
The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Diamondbacks because I tip my hat to them for ending the late 90s Yankees dynasty. And I actually watched that Game 7, and it was honestly one of the best baseball games, in my opinion, I've ever seen.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was. I remember, yeah.
I thought we were on our way to a similar ending last night, but alas.
No, we were so close to it, too. But
I know.
And the Angels because I tip my hat to them for depriving us of a Barry Bonds World Series championship. So
yeah, we have to be forever grateful to them for that. Yeah.
So it's that, and the fact that I actually really like the Angels uniforms. So, but it's just that season the year they adopted those uniforms, I think coincided with the year that they denied Barry Bonds the World Series title. So those good feelings about the uniforms kind of mix with those good feelings about beating the Giants, and so I just like them. But that's the thing. As far as baseball goes, as far as I'm concerned, I'm tapped for quote-unquote, favorite teams, no more than 3. I'm not going to try to claim half the majors like some people.
Like me. Well, see, that's the thing, though. I don't really baseball is the only sport where I really don't have just a cut above everybody else's favorite team. You just like baseball. It kind of developed over the years. For my whole life, I grew up in Northeast Ohio. I really tried to get on board with the Indians, but they just never took with me like the Browns did.
Right.
But if I had to pick, I'd say, okay, the Angels and the Pirates. The Pirates because I felt sorry for them. The Angels because I just started watching them back. And when I first, 2000, I guess, was the first year I got the MLB Extra Innings package. And I worked nights, so I came home and the West Coast games were on. And I would flip through the A's, Angels, Dodgers, Giants. And the Angels just kind of were the ones that took. But other than that, to me, it's just there are teams that I don't like, and then that kind of goes from there. Okay, the Orioles are okay, but I like the Royals better, and right up on the line, So,
also another reason for me to like the Angels is that I can wear that throwback cap for the halo into synagogue, and no one will know.
Hey, there you go. That's a good thing. But yeah, I don't know. We're talking about why you root for your teams and all that, and our second favorites and all that. I just wondered how many was too many. I know in my case with baseball, it's way too many, but I don't claim any of them exclusively. So I like to date.
It's an interesting question with you because you just don't like your local team.
With the Indians,
right?
Mm-hmm. It's not that I don't like them.
But you never got attached to them, and you just like baseball as a whole,
right?
Is there a reason you never got attached to the Indians? I'm just curious because you're a huge baseball fan. You grew up in Northeast Ohio. I think that you'd naturally be drawn to the local team.
You would think, but for some reason, they just never took with me, and I tried. I really did. I mean, I've got Indians jerseys, I've got a jacket, I've got hats, and even when they were in the World Series, I was thinking like, okay, I'm really supposed to care about this, but I didn't. I mean, I would have loved to have seen them won, because it would have been cool to see the Indians win a World Series, but after like in '97 when they blew it in Game 7 against the Marlins, people were devastated. And I was like, whatever, So. But I don't know why it is with the Indians. But with me, like where I lived, we could get either Tigers games or Indians games, and I'd find myself watching the Tigers more. I always liked the teams I couldn't watch. Like I loved back in the early '70s. I loved the Pirates because of Willie Stargell and Roberto Clemente and those guys, and I liked the A's because they were on TV all the time on the national games. And with the Indians, it was just. God, I hate to say this, but I think it might have been the announcers. They've always driven me nuts, even since I was a kid. I just can't stand them. But I don't know.
If I let announcers ruin baseball for me, then I wouldn't watch because Joe Buck. So
honestly, though, I think the only place where you can have multiples and it not be as egregious is in college sports.
Yeah,
that is true because college sports seem so diverse and so. Widespread that
some teams it's like, well, okay, like here I went to Arizona State for a year, so I'm going to root for ASU's football team. Well, and then I come to Long Beach State, well, they don't have a football team, so that's fine, I can still root for ASU's football, but now I have Long Beach State basketball and baseball, for example. And my mom went to Texas A&M, so I'm a Texas A&M Aggie fan, and my grandpa grew up rooting for Notre Dame, so I kind of watch a little bit Notre Dame here and there because there's just so much of it that you can get away with it a little bit easier.
There's so much of it, and there's so much room for personal connections to various schools.
Exactly.
Well, yeah. Plus, you can be a Notre Dame fan and an Arizona State fan, and 99 years out of 100, it's not going to really matter because they don't play each other.
There's not going to be a lot of conflict,
and they don't affect each other very much as things go along.
Right, because most of these teams are in different conferences anyway. Like ASU and Notre Dame are going to play this year, sure, but.
And it's I think they're not the Wild. God, I am so sorry, man. I almost called them the Wildcats. I might as well just pull out a gun and shot you.
How dare you?
I'm sorry. I apologize. I caught myself.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
Wolverine, you.
I just want to say that between two rivals, there's never been such a disparity in names, in my opinion, because you got Sun Devils, which is unique. It's cool. It's interesting. They had a fantastic logo until they picked a salad fork.
Right.
Sparky's still around.
I love Sparky, but anyway. But then you got Sun Devils.
Rapey. It's a little rapey, to be perfectly honest.
But Sun Devils, it's unique. It's cool. It's got local flair to it, and then you've got the Wildcats.
Let's put the 20 most generic sports names we can find in a hat. And draw
Wildcats.
One out. Yeah, and then we got Wildcats, yeah.
Cardinals.
Right.
That's be named after 90% of the high schools in North America.
Exactly. and 30% of the college teams.
College teams.
Well, at least it's not like the SEC where there's 3 different Tigers.
Yeah. I thought about that because I've got an Auburn connection, so I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, maybe Auburn should go to War Eagle, but then I thought about it. I'm like, no, Auburn was one of the first 2 Tigers, so if anyone, Missouri should change.
That's why I thought when Missouri first came into the SEC, I thought, well, you can't pick a team with a different mascot.
Well, Missouri, we'd like to let you in, but you're named the Tigers, and we've already got 2 Tigers, so
yeah.
Are there any Wildcats in the SEC? Yeah, the Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky
Wow.
Wildcats.
Okay, do we have any Eagles in the SEC? We can't really count Auburn in the War Eagle thing because that's more of a...
No, Auburn actually had to put out an explanatory thing explaining the difference between the team name and the War Eagle thing. And they're like, Auburn fans chant War Eagle, but they chant War Eagle at the Tigers.
So we've got 3 Tigers, a Wildcats. Who else is in
Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs, of course. There's another one.
That's another generic one.
And I really love that generic Bulldogs logo that every team has of that cartoon bulldog, the little hat and the sweater.
Yeah, it's like just recolor it and throw our logo on the hat. That's not how that works.
Louisville is beating Florida State right now, the second quarter.
How much will this throw the rankings into chaos?
Florida State would drop immediately out, I would have to think.
Yeah. How far do you think they would drop if they did?
Well, Louisville's 25 in this new committee poll thing.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, perfect time to segue, because the problem is the committee releases these polls on Tuesday nights. Greg and I record Tuesdays, but we're probably going to be recording earlier on Tuesdays, maybe Monday because of my work schedule now. So what we're going to do is every week we're going to go over the college playoff rankings.
Yes, Mike. Because basically, a football show is commandeering Bass for a few minutes every week. I hope you're okay with that.
Because it just does not work out in a way in which, because we could do it on Wednesday, but then it's too late.
Yeah, you've got a Thursday game the next day. It's too late, and
Yeah, okay.
No, go for it. I'm actually fond of discussing college football. It's the other kind that.
Let's start at the bottom. Let's go from bottom to top this time. At the bottom, number 25 is Louisville. Our Duke Blue Devils, Greg, number 24 in the playoff. They're in this thing.
All right. They're in it, man.
Duke. East Carolina's 23. UCLA, like I said, 22. Clemson, 21. West Virginia, 20. LSU more properly ranked at number 19, I think, rather than 16.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, as much as I like LSU.
Brilliant uniforms.
Beautiful uniforms.
Yep. Oklahoma, 18. Utah, 17. Ohio State, 13 in the AP top 25, 16 in the college football playoff.
I'd agree with that ranking, I think. I'm not even sure they're at 16. What?
Do you think that, Ohio State's 16. Is Ohio State worse or not as less playoff worthy than number 15 Nebraska?
No.
I don't understand why Nebraska's all the way up at 15.
No, that
they're
makes
17 in the AP, but
they're not that good.
No, who have they played? Number 14, my Arizona State Sun Devils.
That's fair, I think.
That's fine. They're 15 in the AP. No big deal. But Baylor is 13.
And then we get to some real bullshit.
Arizona's 12, which I still don't understand.
They're like Nebraska. They got no business being here.
I think it's because the committee's putting a lot of weight into the fact that they beat Oregon.
Okay. All right.
So, but if that's the case, then I don't understand some of the other rankings up here because, Arizona's 12, Georgia's 11, Notre Dame. This is the real interesting one. 16 in the AP, 10 in the committee's rankings.
I think the committee's closer to getting it right than the AP is.
Right. I think that's a little bit more proper in terms of Notre Dame in terms of national championship worthy.
Right.
Now, if they beat ASU in 2 weeks and if they beat SC down the road, maybe they're a little bit more worthy and maybe they'll jump up a little bit higher. Because I think the one thing with these playoff rankings, if this is any indication, based on if you can kind of see what they value and what they don't, I think a big win like beating ASU and ASU might vault Notre Dame up to, say, even all the way up to like 6 or something.
I just want to interject, completely uninformed opinion, because unfortunately I don't get to follow NCAA football as much as I'd actually like to. I do know that Notre Dame is one of those legacy teams, and I'd like to see them do well where they don't have a made-up girlfriend in the equation.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
They had that one run where Alabama just kind of steamrolled them in the national title game. If they can get back to the promised land without Monte Teo's bullshittery, then I'll pull for Notre Dame.
I got to say, if they, I think we've talked about this before, Zach. If they finish 11-1, I think they'll have earned it, and you've got to probably put them in consideration.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think parts of this poll are very realistic, and other parts of them going, really?
The other thing is it's gonna shake itself out because the top 4, even the top 6, there's no way that it holds like that because of, I mean, what is that?
Ole Miss has got
4 out
Auburn.
of the 6 are in the SEC West,
right?
And like we've said, they all have to play each other.
Ole Miss or Auburn, one of them is going to fall out this week.
Where is Auburn at?
Well, let's move through the rest of these real quick. Then
we're going to surprise you, Mike. You'll be happy.
Kansas State is at 9, which I think is interesting.
I think that's too high.
Yeah, Michigan State's 8, and then the other really weird one is TCU at 7. Now, the reason I think that's really weird is because number 13 Baylor beat them. If we're weighing these things whereas teams beat each other, and really besides Baylor beating TCU, they're pretty equal in terms of offensive prowess and like what kind of team they are.
I think that if anything, with TCU looking at their schedule, maybe they're getting a lot of credit for knocking off then number 4 Oklahoma. They lost to Baylor by 3.
Yeah.
And then they knocked off number 15 Oklahoma State and pounded them pretty good. And they scored 82 points the week after that. But you're right, though. I mean, I don't understand how that you put Baylor behind them if Baylor beat them.
I guess Baylor gets knocked down for that loss to West Virginia, but West Virginia's 20. It's not like they're bad.
No.
Baylor's beating everybody else, and I guess it depends on what happens when Baylor plays Oklahoma and Kansas State down the road.
The next one I think is very interesting coming up here in the list.
Alabama's at 6.
I can't agree with that.
Well, I think the way that if you're going to look at this poll, I think 6 and above are your true national championship contenders.
I'd agree with that.
These are the teams you're probably going to have 2 SEC teams at the end of the day. I think
because it's superior. It is the superior conference.
It really is.
Aside, it is.
It really is, yeah.
It is the best conference in college football, especially this year. Because here's the top 6, so we can kind of do this in a big discussion. 6 is Alabama. 5 is Oregon. 4, Ole Miss. Number 3, Auburn. Number 2, Florida State and Mississippi State, the 2 undefeated teams in the poll. Marshall didn't make it.
They haven't played anybody. I mean, God love them, but they haven't played anybody.
They already know. Give them a chance. The way I think it breaks down is at the end of the year, I think no matter what, you're going to have 2 SEC teams. Probably going to have 1 Mississippi school and 1 Alabama school. Probably. And then Florida State, I would assume, goes undefeated. You said they're losing right now, but I don't see them losing to Louisville. And then if Oregon wins out and wins the Pac-12, then I think they're a lock.
Yeah.
So I think it's some combination of those top 6 teams are gonna be in the playoff, barring something weird, barring Florida State losing, barring all those SEC teams ending up with 2 losses, which is again entirely possible.
The only way the SEC probably doesn't put 2 teams in this thing is if everyone else after the SEC champion has 2 losses. Because you'd really have a tough time making a case against, say, a Michigan State that might go 11-1 and win the Big Ten. Because didn't you say they're going to put emphasis on conference championships too?
Yes.
So, but I think right now you're guaranteed the SEC champion is going to be in this thing.
Yes.
You're probably guaranteed that the Pac-12 champion is going to be in this thing. I think so.
Arizona State beats Notre Dame. Let's say that moves them up probably into the top 10, and then Arizona's 12. So they have to play each other at the end of the year. So say ASU were to beat Arizona or vice versa, and then one of those teams beats Oregon in the national. Yeah, maybe
well, that's the thing. I mean, I think that
we just don't know how much emphasis they're actually going to put on that sort of thing until we get there.
The thing is,
just think about this first go around. You don't really know.
I think that if you get a 1-loss team, a Pac-12 champion with 1 loss, they're in because they're going to have earned it to have gotten there.
Yeah.
The SEC champion is going to. I think if the SEC champion could have 3 fucking losses, and they're still going to get in because it's just that good of a conference.
Since TCU's leading the pack right now, if TCU finishes just with a 1 loss, do they get in there? Because they're at number 7, and you and I had kind of devalued the Big 12 as a whole.
I think rightfully so. Go ahead, Mike.
From what I understand, the Big 12 has sort of fallen off. Like I've always kind of thought of it as one of the big conferences, but apparently now it's just Texas, Oklahoma, and.
Well, Texas is bad. The problem is it's a conference that has no defense in it.
Yeah.
There's not a single ounce of defense being played. Every game is at least whoever wins scores 50 points, more often than not. But like TCU, they play at West Virginia this week, and then they host number 9 Kansas State. So if they can beat number 20 and number 9,
yeah, I mean that's the thing. How
far does that push them up? And if they end up being undefeated, because I mean the rest of their schedule is Kansas, Texas, and Iowa State. I mean, come on.
that's what I'm saying, though. I mean, you put who do they got again coming up?
They're at West Virginia this week,
a ranked team,
and then they're home against number 9 Kansas State.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing, though. I mean, yeah, those teams are ranked, but I can't put them in the same category.
Right, but now you have the baseline of the committee thinks that they're good and has them ranked.
Well, you're seeing a lot of that in these rankings right now. I mean, they think Arizona's good. I don't think they are. UCLA.
Nebraska's number 15. Come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Nebraska they're 7-1, but I don't know if they've beaten anybody yet. I think that the two conferences that really need to worry right now are the Big 12 and the Big 10. They're going to really have to impress the hell out of people to get into this thing this first year. I really think so.
Nebraska lost by 5 at Michigan State. That's all they got, really.
That's their big signature moment, and it was a loss.
They had a 10-point win over Miami.
Okay.
They had a 7-point win at home against McNeese State.
The Big Ten could just, get the hell out until they come up with a better logo, because that conference logo is just terrible. But
if I were on the committee,
I'd out until they call themselves the Big 14. But that's that's another argument. At least try to be creative like you did before when you had 11 teams, and you can see, there's an 11 in the middle of it.
What do you think it would be easier to put a 14 in there too? You got a lot more to work with that way.
That was the biggest problem I had when they expanded. I was like, that awesome Big Ten logo with the hidden 11's going to go away, and then now it's just
now we're 14, and
now it's
Maryland and Rutgers are in the Big 12 or Big 10. What are we doing? Why does that make sense?
Because they want that East Coast money, man.
But that doesn't make sense, because to me, like, when I think, and again, this is generally uninformed, but when I think Big Ten, I think Midwest.
Exactly.
Maryland with their long tradition of
crab
grilling
cakes,
sausages, and cheese. Yeah, that's what I think of the Midwest is sausage and cheese, and
I don't know.
If there's two things that Maryland does well, it's crab cakes and sausage. Wait, that's not how that works.
But you see, the quote is football and crab cakes. But
that's what Maryland does.
That's what Maryland does, but they really don't do football all that well.
Not right now.
Not so much, no.
I mean, I guess the Ravens, if you wanted to expand it into the pros, but but I don't know. When I think Big Ten, I think Midwest. When I think East Coast, I think ACC or Big East. But apparently, the Big East isn't even a thing anymore.
It doesn't even exist anymore, does it?
What's it called?
The American Conference.
Oh yeah, okay.
With such luminaries as UMass.
Yeah.
And
I guess I also think ACC. I guess because the ACC pretty much absorbed anything of value in the Big East.
Yeah, I see.
By that you mean Syracuse and Pitt
and Miami.
Oh yeah, well that was years ago.
But I was like, the Big Ten. I would even argue that I don't think Nebraska even belongs in the Big Ten. The Nebraska's a Big 12 team. They're out there with Texas, Oklahoma.
They're a bit too far out west to be.
I could accept Nebraska.
I can handle it, but really, if the Big Ten for the Big Ten to expand, what they should have done. There was only one team that was a perfectly natural fit for the Big Ten, and that was Notre Dame.
Yeah,
and they're never going to get them, which is too bad because Notre Dame. If Notre Dame wants to be a consistent player in this thing, I think they've really got to join a conference because this ACC thing. Let's face it, outside of Florida State and our Duke Blue Devils, what the hell is there in that conference? It's
Clemson.
Clemson. Well, yeah, but they need to join a conference. But the Big Ten, I think, okay. Notre Dame, yes.
Well, that's what it is. They could have done the same thing that they did here with the ACC, where they're independent in football and just you align with everything else. Because that's what they did with the Big East before. They played basketball and wrestling and whatever the hell else in the Big East, and now they're doing the same thing just with the ACC. And yes, the ACC has a little thing in there where you have to play a certain number of ACC teams. If Notre Dame wants to be better in football, to be perfectly honest, as down as the Big Ten is. They're much better off from a football perspective playing like Ohio State, or Michigan, or yes, they get a couple of them. They get like Michigan State every year now. Congratulations, you decided to keep Michigan State over Michigan.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
And they keep that vaunted game against Purdue because God knows they need to play Purdue.
That's the thing. You put Notre Dame in the Big Ten. Every year you're going to have Notre Dame, Ohio State, or most of the time you're going to have Notre Dame, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, Notre Dame, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, Nebraska. Yeah, it's
Penn State.
Yeah, it's a powerhouse. Now, granted, they may not be football powerhouses, but ratings and TV wise, you're really doing pretty well with a schedule like that.
I really don't care either. Big Ten or ACC, just pick one. I don't get the whole point of this independent thing.
20 years ago, it made sense because they were the biggest, maybe 30 years ago, they were the biggest thing in college football, and for them to join a conference was to kind of take a step down from their lofty perch at the top of the football world.
Well, guess what?
They're not there anymore, yeah.
It's kind of like when, again, kind of in the NFL, when Jerry Jones kind of negotiated his own separate merchandise deal from the collective NFL.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, that made sense when you're selling Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith jerseys. But there's a long period after that where the Cowboys stopped being that hot jersey ticket.
Yeah, the Jason Garrett jerseys weren't exactly flying off the shelves. That era.
Well,
yeah,
Notre Dame's
exactly.
so tied down to the tradition, too, where they want to play Stanford, they want to play SC, and then they also still want to keep playing Army and Navy. All the while trying to make something of a quote-unquote conference schedule and play, one of those big games in a stadium somewhere. They're Shamrock.
Well, I'd like a treasure chest full of money, but that's not happening. So,
Right. So I mean, they're not going to lose Stanford and SC because they like playing on the West Coast and exposing themselves and all that nonsense. And those are traditional games. Stanford is a smart school. SC is. They've always had that weird rivalry. And I don't know. I guess you'd have to drop them with service academies, but they don't want to do that either.
Well, that's the thing, though. But, in the age of the college football playoff, which we all know is going to increase to 8 teams at some point,
yeah,
beating up on Navy, Air Force, and Army every year is not going to help your cause very much.
No.
We're going to reach a point with this thing eventually, and thank God, where we're going to probably stop seeing them schedule these patsies because it's going to become – strength of schedule is going to come into play in this. And let's just say that you're looking at like a Notre Dame versus Michigan State, for example, all right? Now, Michigan State's going to have a slate of Big Ten games on there. Notre Dame is going to have 3 games against the service academies. All things being equal, you got to go with Michigan State because they played the tougher schedule. It's just nonsense to.
Yeah.
And the whole it's passed them by. This whole thing like we're the greatest thing in the world. No, you're not anymore. You're a pretty average football team, really. And then they screwed up their uniforms on top of it, which just pisses me off even more.
Did they? No.
I kind of like what they did with the golden helmet.
I love the golden helmet.
I've never liked that helmet. I just don't like it. And now they got the khaki pants going now, and
they need to get shiny pants. If they got shiny pants, then
I can live with the helmet if they went with shiny pants. I agree with that, but
2 minutes left in Louisville, by the way, in the second or the first half.
Yeah,
Louisville's up 21-0 over number 2 Florida State.
Hey, you know what, man? People were saying, watch out for Louisville today. And Louisville will come. They always screw up something every year. They just do.
Quick CHL update.
Wait, Greg, where's this game being played?
Louisville.
Toronto!
Where's this game being played, Tom?
Louisville. Well, okay, go ahead, Mike. CHL
Quick
update.
CHL update.
CHL.
My Montreal Maroons
Oh,
are
I don't
playing
even want to hear it.
Greg Salinas Gold Jackets. No, we're tied at 5-all.
Look at it. Hey, look at my gold diggers getting up off the mats.
We're tied at 5-all. Zach, your Thunder Bay Bolts, unfortunately, losing 6-2 currently to Los Angeles.
Yeah, we're losing to a very bad team, but you know what? It's a tight game. Any of those categories could swing at any moment. We're tied in goals. He's at 1 assist up, 1 power play goal up, 1 win up. These things could change. The thing that really screwed me, I'm going to lose goals against in save percentage because somebody decided to leave Corey Schneider in for 6 goals against Pittsburgh the other day. Stupid Penguins.
You know where I'm getting killed? I'm getting killed in plus minus and face-offs won. It's like, can none of these guys win a fucking face-off? Just like say.
That's one of the reasons I drafted Ryan Kessler was for face-offs.
Well, I tried to address my plus minus. I dropped. I had to get rid of Jack Johnson. It was like, dude, you're fucking killing me.
JMFJ.
Yeah, and I picked up.
Well, apparently the Blue Jackets are just injury ridden.
Oh God, yeah. Brandon Dubinsky's out. They lost Bobrovsky.
Yeah,
I liked McCarthy, friend of the show, McCarthy.
Yes,
big Blue Jackets fan. But his response was, "What did we do to anyone?"
It's true. All we did was have the coolest feel-good story in the playoffs last year.
Yeah. Here's your injury updates for your Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh, this is going to be brutal.
Artem Anisimov.
Yeah, I forgot about him. He's out.
He's one of their snipers. Matt Calvert.
Out.
Good gritty forward that scores goals. Out.
Yep.
Brandon Dubinsky.
Out.
Really good. Out. Nick Foligno. Out. Nathan Horton could be out forever because he has a degenerative back.
I don't even count Nathan Horton because he's played about 7 minutes since he signed with the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, what the hell happened there? God.
Apparently, from what I hear, it was just kind of a weird. It was a freak thing because Boston.
His back just melted. You know, it happens.
Well, yeah, but even because like Boston, like they were. When it was them and the Blue Jackets fighting for his services, Boston still really wanted him, and they obviously had a better handle of his medical history than the Blue Jackets ever would, and so they still really wanted him. It just so happened that after he signs his contract, no matter where he would have gone, this stuff still was going to happen to him.
Right.
It just, sometimes you break down, and he's breaking down.
But yeah, I was looking at their injury list the other day, and it's like pretty much
to round it out: Boone Jenner,
right,
Mark Letestu, James Wisniewski, and Sergei Bobrovsky.
And what you basically run down there is pretty much the entire team minus Ryan Johansson and a couple other guys.
7 other top 9 forwards, a top 4 defenseman, and their starting goaltender.
Right. The team that you saw that had so much fun in the playoffs last year, they're all injured this year, minus a couple guys. And think about how much worse would it be if Ryan Johansson hadn't signed yet?
Yeah, right.
God.
Well, if Johansson had signed by this point, they'd just be at his door. Take all the money. We need you, please.
Yeah, we need bodies to wear the skates on the ice. Please.
But, Johansson's he's really up to a good start this season. So thank God for that. I mean, it would be even worse. I guess they just got to tread water until all these guys come back and hope for the best. But yeah, I mean, it was
the good news is that if this had to happen at any point in the season, it's still relatively early, so you could still get them back for like the middle and end. You could make a push for it. But
while we're talking hockey, so we're about 3 weeks in now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the Buffalo Sabres have still yet to score a power play goal.
3 weeks. God.
They're 0 for 33.
Oh my God.
Minnesota also hasn't scored a power play goal. They're 0 for 26. But
how are they doing, the Wild? Because I think I had them as my dark horse Stanley Cup pick this year.
They're doing all right. They're out of the wild card.
Yeah, it's not.
But it's not insurmountable. They're only 2 points out.
5 and 3. They got 10 points.
Okay.
They're right in the mix.
Oh, okay.
But who's really surprising? Vancouver and Calgary.
And Nashville.
Look at Calgary. 5-4-2.
Yeah, and Nashville. Nashville's 6-1.
Nashville, they're getting some good goaltending, and they're scoring some goals, which is, strange.
They've decided to go the route of actually trying to score more goals and win that way?
There's no way this thing sustains itself, though.
Well, they finally got rid of Barry Trotz, so maybe they just got like a new coach, and it was like, guys, try scoring a goal. And they're like,
Peter Laviolette's the coach now. But they have no one to play center for that team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have James Neal's doing fine, I guess. But, they don't have anything else that I want, except for Pekka Rinne and Shea Weber.
Well, I still love the fact that Shea Weber is playing there when he was basically forced to play. He's basically forced to be there. Like,
yeah, he signs this ludicrous offer sheet from the Flyers, and and Nashville's like, no, we'll match it. And he's like, but I signed.
But I want to play for the Flyers
over there, where they might win a cup soon. And I mean, the Flyers could definitely use a defenseman. That's for sure. The Flyers aren't doing bad either. They got 10 points. They're a point behind Pittsburgh. 2 points behind your Metropolitan Division leading
New York Islanders.
Icelanders.
Look at them go.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the East because the Maple Leafs. I think they're not doing terribly.
4-4-1. That's not terrible.
Better than Florida. two more games played than Florida.
You know what? Maybe, but we're still always go. Yes.
Speaking of Florida, guys, tonight is our World Championship.
Is it
Arizona Coyotes at Florida Panthers?
Oh my God!
I'm trying desperately to find a picture.
5?
I don't know.
If they held a hockey game and no one showed up, would it still be a hockey game?
I don't know what the announced attendance is yet. I don't know. I'm trying to see if somebody has a picture from this game yet. But that's happening right now.
I'm trying to.
That's gonna. I'm hoping that we have a truly magical evening.
I couldn't imagine more than. I mean, let's be.
They did get 13,000 reportedly in Phoenix for this very same game. In Glendale for this very same game.
How dare you say Phoenix, sir?
I am sorry. I am so sorry.
The good people of Glendale will not take this.
Oh, well, I get a quick preview from center ice. Come on, move out of the way. Oh, there is no one there.
Oh, no.
Just from the little bits you can see from, the ice level.
Let me see here.
There is no. Oh, well, there are people at the ends. There are people sitting at the ends of the ice.
It's not as bad as it was the other night, is it?
No, it's. I think we're all going to be very disappointed. I think there's going to be more people there than you think.
I got to wait for the ad to go through here.
Let me see. Do they have the attendance yet on this?
Oh, there's an ad for NHL 15. I'm still considering buying that. Would I be okay just to get a used copy of 14? Would that be all right?
It would be equal.
Okay.
But, I mean, if you want updated jerseys and rosters.
Yeah, I'm not that worried about that.
I'm trying to find a picture. I think I'm looking in the wrong place, but I'm trying to find the picture of those stick figures from the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
I wish I could have a picture.
What a dumpster fire.
There's some people. I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as it was the other night. There's some people there.
It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Maybe they bound it together. It's going to be bad, but it's not going to be that bad. Come on, fans. Show up.
Oh, okay. That's how I was looking in the regular season thread.
No. You have to go to the anti-thread for all
the anti-thread, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here's a picture from tonight's game. It doesn't look good.
Oh, do they have a picture in there?
Yeah, it's in the anti-thread, actually. I'm going to link to the post if you guys don't want to hop over there.
I'm already here.
There we go.
It doesn't look good. I'm just going to say that.
Well, I mean, of course it doesn't look good.
Wow. You know what's sad, though? It
looks so much better on TV.
Not only that, but that's like a huge improvement over the last time we looked at a picture from one of their games.
Okay,
wait,
here it
is it actually Hispanic Heritage Night, or is that a joke? I need to go to the Panthers website. More research is needed. Because if it's Hispanic Heritage Night between Florida and Arizona, I just don't know. I don't know if I could handle that, to be perfectly honest.
Oh man, look at that! Like,
if only they could wear jerseys that say Los Panthers, Los Coyotes.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe put a little sombrero on the Coyote head.
Oh God!
Did you see those Rockford Ice Hogs Hispanic Heritage Night jerseys?
Yeah, I think
like ponchos.
Yeah, we talked about those about a year ago. I think.
Yeah, it was last year.
Those things were.
I think that is a joke. I don't believe it to be Hispanic Heritage Night. It should have been though.
Okay, so here's a screenshot from an actual commercial from the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yes.
All right, let's see here. Wait, what happened? Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, that was in the commercial.
Is that supposed to be a joke or something?
No, it's a description of a family of 4 going to go see their Hurricanes.
Wow, somebody got paid to put that together.
Yeah.
That looks like something that Greg would have drawn right there. That's like my level.
That's your level of artistic.
That's my level of artistic ability right there, except probably not as good. God.
You know what's fun? The second thing when I type in Florida Panthers into the Twitter search, the second option is Florida Panthers attendance.
It's just... I don't want to go down the relocation rabbit hole again, but for fuck's sake, they've got to move that team. It's just that simple.
It's an embarrassment. Like, I don't care how much of a hard-on you have for Sunbelt hockey, Mr. Bettman, but how can you watch this attendance night after night and go, this seems to be working?
Ladies and gentlemen. Wait, let me do that again. Ladies and... Oh, God. Off to another rousing start, just like last week. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs!
We need to start pre-recording these things so you guys can just press a button.
Take it away, Maestro.
Jose Canseco shot off his middle finger. He was cleaning his gun in Las Vegas.
Oh, I thought you meant he flipped somebody the bird. He actually shot his finger off?
Yeah.
No, he was according to TMZ, he was cleaning his gun in his home in Las Vegas. Didn't know that it was loaded, and bullet tore through the bottom of the middle finger on his left hand.
Now this is gun,
and not like so. It's not the top. He actually lost his middle finger, like the whole thing.
This is gun safety 101. That simply removing the cartridge does not mean the gun is empty.
Right.
Like, you're supposed to empty the chamber.
Right. There's a whole process that you go through, yeah.
this is like the first thing they teach you when you learn how to care for a firearm.
Wow.
I'm sure that picture will hit close to your heart, Mike.
Oh, I forgot he played for the Blue Jays. So that finger's no more.
That finger in that picture.
Oh, yeah.
Exists, yeah.
No, when you said he shot his finger off, I thought you meant he did exactly that, like flip somebody off. Oh, this is
No.
He actually shot his finger off.
I can't tell you how proud I am to know that the Blue Jays were one of the teams that he had that were graced by his presence.
So the ball hit off his head and for a home run in Texas, right?
No, it was in Cleveland.
Well, but
he was playing for the Rangers, yeah, but it wasn't.
He
was in
played for
Cleveland.
the Rangers.
Yeah, it was in Cleveland. Yeah. Yeah, this guy was such a flaming douchebag from the day he showed up in the major leagues right up until today.
Yeah. Well, his fiancée, Layla Knight, took to Twitter to try and defend the honor of her fiancé. All you assholes making negative comments about what happened with my fiancé, I'm sure you wouldn't be laughing if it were you. Such cold-hearted souls.
Oh, I'd still be laughing.
Well,
everyone that's then tweeted at her or Jose Canseco the whole night. She went to every single person and just wrote in all capitals, douche, and on down the line.
So, no, it wouldn't happen to me because I wouldn't be stupid enough to try cleaning a gun without emptying the chamber.
Wow. I mean, you don't want to fuck it. Yeah, I do want to laugh because he's just fucking hysterical.
No, it's an entirely avoidable thing. That anyone with an ounce of common sense could have avoided.
Isn't this so perfectly Jose Canseco, though? If this would have been anybody else, I might have been a little more surprised. But it's like, oh, he blew his finger off with a gun. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And here's the interesting thing. It's Nevada, right? So it's not a crime for accidental discharge in a private residence.
Yeah. So
basically, what that means is that there's no crime. He's not going to be charged. He just has to live with the shame.
I always thought
having shot off his middle
finger. That is funny because it's like, what are you getting charged with? Well, I shot myself. Are you suing yourself? No. It's like technically, like if you commit suicide, like you have to bring charges on yourself.
Yeah, it's against the law to commit suicide, which I guess makes sense, but
it's right.
It really doesn't when you think about it.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? If he comes back to life, he's going straight to jail.
It's just it makes no sense. But anyway, on to lighter things.
Because this wasn't light enough.
Well, I know, Mike, you've probably heard about him, but Greg, have you heard about hockey super prospect Connor McDavid?
I've heard you guys talk about him, yes.
I feel so sorry that kid's going to have his career ruined by playing for Buffalo.
He's going to have to play for Buffalo or Carolina or Florida, and we're all going to be very sad. But anyway.
Well, I don't know. If he plays for Florida, it might end up being for Quebec City at the end. So,
the new Nordiques.
That might not be the worst thing.
Maybe. But just to, show his true prowess, how good he's going to be in the NHL, he broke a puck.
He broke a puck?
Broke a puck.
Wow.
Click the link, and you'll see the damage.
Holy hell!
He shattered a hockey puck.
Well, how do you do that?
Off the crossbar.
He hit it off the crossbar.
And it exploded?
He shot the puck so hard it hit the crossbar.
Wow. That's a slap shot, guys.
Look,
and by the way, the kid that did this, 17 years old.
Holy hell.
Look. When you're a hockey goalie, you get pretty numb to the idea of pucks being shot at you.
Yeah.
Right now, any goalie at any level of the game who sees that picture, I guarantee you they're flinching.
I was just going to ask you.
The next time someone takes a slap shot at him.
I was going to ask you, how would you like to try to stop this guy's shot?
I wouldn't.
If you only stop 3/4 of the puck and the other part's going in the net, does it count?
I think you got to get at least 3/4 in the net. So
that seems like, okay, if it broke.
Does it have to be above 50% of the puck?
I would think
it would be a majority.
I think in fairness, yeah, it's got to be at least 51% of the puck, or it doesn't count.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
If the majority of the puck didn't actually cross the goal line, but that seems like something where, first of all, I'd be scared to death of putting my glove out for it, because that's the kind of thing where, like, if it hits the padding, you're still going to feel it.
Yeah.
And hell, even if it's a clean catch and it goes into the mesh, damn thing just might pull it off your hand.
Well, see, this is what I mean. I've got, 12, 15 hockey pucks. Now, granted, they're not game pucks, but I got to think there's not a whole hell of a lot of difference between
there's not.
No, the only difference between a puck you might have on your shelf and the ones that they use in the game is that they freeze the hockey pucks.
That's the thing, though. It's frozen when it takes the ice, but it doesn't stay frozen. I mean, it's not that cold on the ice. I just don't know how you, man, oh man. I just can't imagine shattering a fucking hockey puck. That's amazing to me.
You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait for his first skills competition, the All-Star game in the NHL. That's going to be interesting.
Connor McDavid knocked the net completely off its moorings and into the stands. They got to start calling this guy the Natural, right? Because like the Natural, like Robert Redford hit the cover off the ball. This is kind of the same thing.
There are some people that are trying to, like Johnny Football, they're trying to put forth the name Connor McHockey.
Yeah, okay.
I like it.
I
get behind it. Again, it's a shame the kid's going to be wasting away in Buffalo.
Okay, real quick, I don't want to go too far off topic here, but let's say that you're the Sabres, all right? And you've got the rights to this kid. Mm-hmm. Is he so good that it would be an idiotic move to, say, make a trade with somebody and pick up just 5-6 players that would improve your team? Is that good, huh?
Yeah, he's franchise changing.
Okay.
This guy, it's like, you know how Sidney Crosby, like the Penguins were terrible, and then they got Sidney Crosby,
right.
And then it wasn't immediate, but it started the trend of them eventually winning a Stanley Cup. This is that.
That's what I mean. I mean, is he a guy that's like Zach said, franchise changing?
Yeah, no, this is a guy.
He's been described as the next Sidney Crosby.
Wow.
And Sidney Crosby was described as the next Wayne Gretzky. So,
there's not going to be a next Wayne Gretzky, but still, being the next Sidney Crosby's not bad.
Being the next Sidney Crosby's not bad. And as I said before, I think we're going to be waiting a while before anyone eclipses Gretzky, because Gretzky had the right combination. He was a fantastic athlete, but on top of that, he also had this innate vision for the game.
He had superpowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So until we get that right combination of hockey, ESP, and athletic ability, we're not going to see anyone come close to Gretzky. But of course, no one saying, "Oh, you weren't quite as good as Wayne Gretzky," isn't exactly,
I'll put it this way: if I could play in the NHL and I was say, okay, I'm 80% as good as Wayne Gretzky, yeah, I'm all right. Okay, that's good. This just blows my mind because I just can't imagine how this happens.
Yeah, no, I've never seen anything like this before. Closest I've ever seen is sometimes after a hard puck goes off the post, sometimes you see a tiny, tiny little chip. If you look for it, if you look for it hard enough.
I have a practice puck that I got from warm-ups from a Ducks Coyotes game, and there's a little chip out of the puck.
Yeah,
but it's not.
That's a most. That's
to be expected, though, and that's around the edges of the puck too. We're not talking like destroying it from the inside out and blowing it into 3, 6, 8 pieces.
Yeah,
that's just amazing. Well,
I'm speechless. This kid is a generational talent. His NHL career is going to be interesting.
Real quick update on the Louisville Florida State game. Louisville's going to pull off this upset probably, and they're going to do it in the ugliest uniforms in the history of college football.
Oh, no.
This is the ugliest.
They are gray.
I don't know what they're wearing.
They're gray. Well, more like graphite gray. Graphite-looking helmets.
Anthracite gray.
Okay, whatever.
Anthracite.
And black numbers with a red outline. And they are horrible. But anyway, go ahead, Zach.
Well, I see them now. Those are
maybe
bad.
Not the ugly, because saying a uniform is the ugliest in the history of college football, that's really making a statement. So I can't go that far.
Well, that's a week by week thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't last for long. Oh, those are terrible.
See.
I wanted to show you guys this. Do you know what League of Legends is?
Yes, it's a MOBA game.
It's like StarCraft and things of that nature where you command a team and you do stuff. They just had their World Championships last week. Where do you think this event was held? What country, first off?
I'd say the United States, and I'd say World Champion video games, probably Los Angeles or San Francisco Bay Area.
I was going to go with Las Vegas, but other than that.
It was in Seoul, Korea.
Of course.
Because they're huge into the video games over there. Now
they're actually really big into StarCraft there.
What type of venue would you hold a World Championship of video games in?
high school gymnasium.
I'm thinking a place with TVs. You'd have to have TVs, right?
I'm saying high school gymnasium in the sense of if the world was just and right, that's where it would be.
But the world isn't just and right. It's filled with stupid people. So I'm going to say they held it in a soccer stadium.
40,000 fans watched the event live at Seoul's World Cup Stadium. Here's a link to the little article about it.
Okay,
you can see how it's grown. At first, it was like in a boardroom. Then it was in a theater. Then in a basketball arena. And in year 4, soccer stadium. And by the way, there's videos, and there are people that do play-by-play and pregame shows for this stuff.
I have not seen this particular version of this, but I have seen on television. I couldn't tell you the channel because DirecTV's got like 7,000 channels.
Yeah.
And I think it was on. It used to be called the G4 channel or something like that.
Yeah, G4 no longer exists.
But they did this with the play. My God.
Yeah, no, this is League of Legends is insane. And just as a side note, League of Legends has a reputation among gamers of having the worst player community. In terms of,
if you watch the actual thing, these guys wear shirts with sponsors, and this is like they're professional athletes, but they're video gamers.
But look at the setup. I mean, obviously I passed season 1, but look at like season 2, season 3. These look like freaking rock concerts.
Yeah, and they have these giant TV screens, and like the season 4 one that's looking out to the crowd, that illuminated box is where the players were sitting,
right?
And above them are the giant jumbotrons.
40,000 people. My question is this: okay, you're at the soccer stadium, which is bad enough in its own right, but you're sitting way like looking at the picture, all the way in the very back row at the other end of the stadium. What's the point of even being there at that point?
To say that you were there
to watch a video game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, that's the thing. Like, you can see that there are some people that treat it very seriously, and then in Korea especially, they treat this stuff and stuff like StarCraft like a professional sport because I mean they fill up arenas.
There is the story. This is taking a tragic side of it, but I think it illustrates Zach's point. There's a story of a South Korean couple. Newlywed couple in South Korea, their baby died of malnourishment because the parents were so busy playing StarCraft for so long.
I remember hearing about that, yeah.
But that just kind of gives you a peek into that's how seriously they take this kind of stuff.
I'm watching the video from from game 1. They have a desk, and there's 5 guys. It looks like freaking ESPN's NFL show here.
Yeah. Yeah. I was watching, I'm like, how do I get that job? We'll round out the tabs with 2 from the World's Series.
Okay.
Did you see Aaron Lewis of Stained do the national anthem?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And again, screw up the words?
Yep.
How is this a hard thing?
I don't know, because you've got a great big giant screen that can put the words up on for you.
Yeah.
You can do what that one dude did where he wrote it in his hand. What was it? Michael Bolton, I think, wrote it down in his hand.
Yeah.
You can have a sheet on the ground in front of you. I don't know how you do this.
I don't understand. Shouldn't you know your national anthem?
Well,
I understand Star Spangled Banner is not it's a little complex.
It's a very tough song to sing from what I understand.
Right.
But
if you're going to sing it at a sporting event, you should know.
And if you're a professional musician who is routinely paid to memorize and recite songs, memorizing the lyrics to the national anthem on a national stage shouldn't be difficult.
Well, here's the thing. You see this stuff happen way more often than it should, both with the Canadian and the American anthem. Wouldn't you think that when you're about to go out and sing it in front of a huge baseball crowd for the World Series, that you would take every precaution to make sure it didn't happen?
Yeah.
And they don't. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Well,
and then as the World Series ended, Madison Bumgarner was named the World Series MVP, and Chevrolet executive Rick Wilde came out to present him with the trophy and, of course, a brand new car. And so he was describing the new Chevy pickup that he was going to be driving around, and he described it as saying it combines class-winning and leading, technology and stuff.
Oh, God.
I can't wait.
And he had note cards with him, and he couldn't read the note cards. Or like he didn't write it down or something.
And plus he was
got things the car.
It's got like Wi-Fi and stuff.
It's got wheels.
If Chevy were smart, they would make a commercial out of this. It's got Wi-Fi and stuff.
It's got an engine, so that's good.
And wheels and
steering wheel, seat belts
and stuff.
Class-winning stuff.
On that note,
sports and stuff.
On that note,
I'm going to start up a rival podcast instead of it being basically a sports show. Sports and stuff.
No, we've got to do that ourselves. We've got to start a podcast called Basically Sports and Stuff. It could be,
basically sports and stuff.
Yeah.
Basically football and stuff.
All right, so anyway, we're going to call it a night. Zach's got a paper to write. We will have a new episode of basically a geek show. Well, it'll be out before. I don't even know why I brought that up. It's going to be out before anybody hears this, so never mind.
Go listen to it if you haven't yet.
Yeah, but go check it out if you haven't yet. You can find all of it.
Did you guys get the full rundown of the Marvel timeline?
Yeah, we did. We covered the Marvel timeline, and we covered the Age of Ultron trailer, specifically how James Spader seems to be channeling Heath Ledger for the.
Did you see the
yeah,
he
does.
They all trying to lift the hammer.
Yes.
Great. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mike? How do you feel about the trailer? You got high hopes?
I'm biased because I really don't give a crap about Ultron, like the character from the comics. Because, okay, Ultron. Have you seen Have you seen Terminator?
Yeah.
Then you know Ultron's gig. He's artificial intelligence who became self-aware and has determined that the only way to save the world is kill humanity. He's every artificial intelligence trope. He's Marvel's take on the Cylons or on Skynet. It's going to be Skynet with a Heath Ledger impersonation as the voice. And
it was very, very Heath Ledger-esque. I have to agree when I watched it.
Yeah, especially at the beginning. He's talking about like the world. The way he says "change" is like just it's like change, and it just like kind of dripped of Heath Ledger's Joker. And I'm like, oh no.
Am I going to get laughed out of the room or not when I bring this up? But have you guys watched the Hunger Games movies?
Actually, we talked about in the episode that you're going to be putting together, Greg. We actually talk about the latest Hunger Games trailer.
I don't know. I just don't have a lot of. I thought the first one was okay. I thought the second one, The problem with the second one, okay, so the second Hunger Games movie, like the first 20 minutes of it really talk about like the whole politics of the world. Really got, like, I was really into that. And then it just became a repeat of the first one. Right. I mean, don't you think, too? I don't know if you've read the books or not. I'm ashamed to admit that I have.
I have not read the books.
But the second one, it was just kind of like, you're right. They kind of talked about it for 20 minutes and just kind of, okay, we're going to do the same movie over again, and that was it.
I saw the first one. I haven't seen the second one. So.
Okay, first
spoilers.
Of all, I think it's hilarious, by the way, that the Hunger Games movies, a movie about starving children, has a Subway tie-in.
Yeah.
That I think is hilarious. I'm also kind of happy because, okay, as far as this recent trend of young adult / tween fiction goes, like,
let's be honest about it. These books are written for 13-year-old girls, but yeah, okay.
But of that genre, like that has like that Twilight is like the champion of, like, this does seem like some of the more well-written entries into that genre.
Yeah.
So it's like okay, if you're gonna read that crap, I'd rather it be Hunger Games than anything else.
When the first movie was coming out, that's when I first became aware of it. Mm-hmm. I thought the premise sounded pretty cool, so I read the first book, and then, of course, I'm like, well, I've got to read the rest now to see how the whole thing ends up. And not one of my prouder moments, trust me. But
one of my favorite books is 1984, which is dystopian fiction.
Right.
And that is broadly what the Hunger Games falls under. So if nothing else, I'm happy that the dystopian genre is getting some mainstream exposure. And who knows, maybe a couple kids who read the Hunger Games will then read 1984 and they'll become better people because of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I like about it, too. I like the whole dystopian future type thing. I always get into that.
I'm a big supporter of President Snow, really. 4 more years.
Sure.
So...
I also just want to say before we're done, because I don't get to talk about this on the Geek Show, the Marvel timeline's way too long. I can't... Really? We're planning things 6 years in advance?
Yeah. No.
Really? It just seems... I know that they do this on purpose, but it's just so far... Like, breaking up the final Avengers movie into 2 parts and then putting it in 2020... right? Or is it 2019?
It's 2019.
Still
5 years away? I'm supposed to care?
All right.
Yeah, that pissed me off. But here's the crazy part. For as much as they released, I can say with actually some degree of authority that Marvel Studios has things planned out to 2026.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone's supposed to care.
Okay, the list of the movies, Inhumans.
Nobody gives a crap about the Inhumans. I know I said that about Guardians of the Galaxy, and then people gave a crap about Guardians of the Galaxy, but still, no.
Black Panther, fine. Doctor Strange, fine. Honestly, I could do without Thor 3.
Okay, I like Thor. I really like Thor.
So do I, but
the first two Thor movies are basically the same, where it's like, that was kind of enjoyable waste of my afternoon, I guess. And then you completely can anyone spur of the moment tell me what the plot to Thor 2 was?
I have no idea.
I'm a Doctor Who fan.
I know they deal with Loki again.
Yeah, unfortunately, Loki, or as Jack calls it, Loki 3 instead of Thor 2.
Yeah, can we stop calling them Thor movies instead of Loki movies? The other thing is, why do we hate Hulk? Why can't we give Hulk another movie of his own?
Unfortunately, we can't give Hulk a movie because the past two Hulk movies bombed.
Didn't the Edward Norton one? That was good.
I heard I have not seen the Edward Norton one, but I did hear it was good.
It's a good movie, but financially it did not do well.
Oh, wow.
I don't think people can relate to Hulk for some reason. As a movie-going audience, I should say.
I can relate to just getting really pissed off. And
the only one of these movies that I can say I'm legitimately psyched for is Civil War.
Yeah.
That saved me from dropping out of comics entirely, that storyline, and I'm unabashedly on Iron Man's side on that one. Captain America.
I saw the leaked footage of the scene supposedly from Avengers 2 when Captain America and Tony Stark are kind of talking to each other, and you already see the split happening. You're like,
I'm fully on Iron Man's side when it comes to Civil War. Captain America was being a naive, idealistic hippie, and he deserved to get thrown in Tony Stark's interdimensional prison because, spoilers, that happens.
He also gets shot, but
He also gets shot by the Red Skull because the Red Skull was the only one smart enough to realize that, hey, all the heroes in the Marvel Universe are fighting each other, and I'm a villain in the Marvel Universe. Maybe I should take advantage of this.
I just want to go back to the Hulk for a second.
Sure.
Okay. Has anyone ever explained why, when he turns into the Hulk, that his shirt gets destroyed but his pants always remain somewhat intact?
And turn purple?
And turn purple.
Right.
Because otherwise we'd have a naked Hulk, and then...
Because then he'd be Dr. Manhattan from...
the
Watchmen, yeah.
Yeah, because then he'd be naked, and then that's an NC-17 rating, and you can't even get that in theaters anymore. So
I was just curious. I just because I got to think that once you get past, I don't know. I just thought maybe they came up with some bullshit answer for it, like they're made out of.
No, they don't. It's
like
just...
of unobtainium or something like that, and they stretch and
unobtainium.
Fuck that movie.
I never saw Avatar, and I am telling you, that is exactly why. Because
Avatar,
someone was trying to explain it to me, it's like, oh, it's pretty, it's great, you got to see it in IMAX. Well, what's the plot? Well, they got to go to this place and they got to get unobtainium. Fuck that, I'm done.
Have you ever seen Dances with Wolves?
Well, yeah, no, I've heard that it's Dances with Wolves, it's Fern Gully, but and so I was like, I don't really need to see that. But then when someone was like, oh, unobtainium, I'm like, no.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not on board with that.
What really got me was James Cameron bragged about is like, I've been working on this script since 1992. It's like, and you couldn't, and in all that time, you never could think of a better name than unobtainium. Okay.
You could have put anium on the back of any made up word, but you used unobtain, and then you added anium to it. What's that thing we can't get? They're not able to obtain it.
It's unobtainable, M.
That's too clunky. Unobtainium. That works better. All right.
The thing about Avatar...
We'll workshop it.
The thing about Avatar, Zach, is that if you watch it, if you ever do watch it, you're going to end up rooting for the villains because it's one of those movies where the bad guys are actually the good guys, and the only reason that the bad guys are the good guys in the movie's narrative is because the movie has such a bullshit message that it twists reality to fit its narrative. But you're watching this and you're like, you know what? I'm kind of pulling for the humans on this one.
I will say this about Avatar: it's just as something just to look at. Taking away the story and all that, it's fantastic from that angle. It's really well done with the effects and all that, but halfway in, I'm like, this is fucking Dances with Wolves is what this is, basically.
I called the plot as soon as they landed on the planet. I had not read any synopses. It was just so telegraphed that by the time he landed, I'm like, okay, this is going to be Dances with Wolves. And then as he was meeting characters throughout the movie, I'm like, this is going to be this person's arc. And then it was. And I don't claim to be any sort of filmmaking genius. I don't claim to be a movie expert or anything like that. But it was just so transparent that you kind of, like, if you're just even vaguely aware of cinematic tropes, you'll just like, okay, this is going to be what this character does, and then he does it.
Like I said, as far as just from a technological achievement, it was incredible. But then so was Speed Racer, and I don't know that Speed Racer's plot was any worse than the one in Avatar.
Okay, Jack defended Speed Racer, and I have to agree with him on a lot of points.
I love Speed Racer. I just threw that out there for you guys because I wanted to see, because everybody else thought it was so awful. I thought it was good.
Again, the funniest part about that was that I actually like Speed Racer more than Jack, but he was the one who had to defend it. I was the one who had to tear it apart. But
I mean, I don't know what people expected going into that movie. It was based off a freaking Japanese cartoon from the 60s.
It was based off of an early Japanese anime, and anyone who is an expert in anime will tell you that Speed Racer is notorious among anime as being some of the most cheaply, poorly made of all time. It's not just a Japanese cartoon of the 60s, it's a poorly made Japanese cartoon.
On that note, we should probably let Zach go write his paper because we could go on with the movie scene for hours on end. Well, you have to, young man.
I don't want to. It's a mini paper.
It's only 800 words. You can bang that out in 15 minutes.
Yeah, but I got to find the stupid sources.
Internal citation always bugged the crap out of me. It always took me out of the flow of whatever I was writing because I was like, I got to stop, and then...
Yeah.
In parentheses.
Yeah.
All right.
Williamson, 26. Like he's actually going to look it up. Screw you.
Well, I hope he doesn't listen to the show.
He's Bulgarian. He doesn't know what this is.
And that's what we're talking about Bulgarian soccer? Probably not.
All right, follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Go to the website, basicallyasportshow.com. Check out Basically a Geek Show at A Geek Show on Twitter. The football show is BA Football Show. Is that right, Zach? Something like that. Anyway, it's all on the website. Go check it out. We're going to call it a night. We will see you all next time right here on Basically a Sports Show.
Later.